Japan is the birthplace of many martial arts. Some examples include karate, popularized by the Karate Kid back in the 80s, and kendo, from sword fighting movies like The Last Samurai and Kill Bill. Anime and manga, like Baki and Hajime no Ippo, helped popularize the genre even more. But while Biscuit Oliver playing tug of war with a helicopter is definitely cool, let's talk about something else not as well known, but still integral in Japanese culture. This is Judo, a martial art created back in 1882. It mainly focuses on throwing opponents onto the ground, but pins, chokes, and joint locks are part of the sport as well. It became an Olympic sport back in 1960, with Japan consistently considered the king of judo, racking up the most Olympic medals, gold or otherwise, than any other nation. Back at home, it is well established in the country and part of the everyday sports curriculum in schools all over Japan. It's even made its way into anime, being as commonplace and well known as it is. But this sport is dying, and I wish I was only talking about its popularity. The culture of how judo is taught in Japan is what one may call strict. Japan always has an emphasis on the young and junior roles, being treated harshly by elders and those in senior positions. It's present in schools, the corporate world, and more or less anywhere else with human interaction in Japan. In something as steeped in tradition as martial arts, judo is no exception. Corporal punishment is not uncommon, with seniors and coaches using violence against juniors, with the reasoning that it is harsh but necessary to instill discipline. Pushing students to the extreme and employing unsafe training practices are problems that plague the sport. In past incidents, students as young as 12 were being forced to persevere through training with multiple concussions caused by hard throws onto the floor. Now, I'm not a doctor, but that is definitely dangerous as hell. Evidently, since the student in question, a boy named Murakawa Koji, died a month after his head injury back in 2009. Between 1983 and 2016, at least 121 children have died practicing judo in Japan, not including countless others with permanent injuries and disabilities. In comparison, a country with a comparable number of judo athletes, France, has had a total of 0 deaths. Yasuhiro Yamashita, the president of the Japanese Olympic Committee and one of the greatest judo players of all time, commented on the hyper-focus on coaches prioritizing winning and consequently endangering the lives of their students. Judo is a sport that emphasizes humanity. If you see no worth in anything but winning, and the result is all that matters, that gets distorted. Although his efforts have been paramount in increasing the well-being of players throughout the country, the number of deaths related to the sport is disproportionately high in comparison to other countries. On a slightly lighter note, the sport is dying in the metaphorical way. It's losing popularity amongst the youth of Japan. American culture is popular in the country, and sports like baseball or football are a much more enticing choice. Japan, the birthplace of judo, isn't even the country with the highest number of registered athletes in the world. It also probably doesn't help that the number of people available to pick up the sport in Japan is decreasing. As Reddit loves to remind everyone every time this topic comes up, the birth rate of Japan has been lower than ever in recent years. New blood is vital for the longevity of a sport, and although the compulsory curriculum helps keep judo in the public's eye, less and less people take up the sport every year. According to the All Japan Judo Federation, the number of people taking part in judo in Japan has plummeted by almost half since 2004 to about 120,000, with children accounting for the steepest decline in numbers. The ingrained bullying and unnecessarily harsh training probably doesn't help in providing a welcoming environment for beginners to learn and grow. Jigoro Kano, the founder of judo, always had the expectation of it being more than a sport, but a way to live one's life. I regard it as a principle of life, art, and science. In fact, it is a means for personal cultural attainment. Maybe coaches and sports governing bodies around the country should remember Judo's roots and acknowledge that the current ways may not be suitable anymore. If action is not taken soon, this beautiful sport, and way of life for some, may not have anyone left to live it.